Welcome to another episode of the Fundraising Partnership Podcast, where we're going to talk this time around regular giving and lotteries, comparing the two. So my question to you is, would you like 50 pence in your donated pound, or would you like £1.20? Which would you prefer? With so many charities looking to launch their own lotteries, this episode of our podcast looks at, should a charity start a lottery, or should they be promoting regular giving instead? Let's dive in. Now I'm going to start off by saying I love charity lotteries. I love all they deliver for our amazing causes. I love how creative and fun you can be when promoting them. I love the charity lottery community, all the friends and the connections that I've made in that community over the last 15 years. However, the time has come for me to be honest with myself. If I was to be asked again to generate a significant regular income for a charity, would I opt to launch a lottery? A lottery with all of the gambling commission compliance, the ELM fees, all of the prize money, all of the regulation? Or would I be looking to promote regular giving, where around 80% of the people that we would recruit can sign up to Gift Aid and increase their donations by 25%? This is where the question, 50 pence or £1.20 comes in. This is the difference in profit, to think of a better word. The profit from a lottery pound of 50p using some sort of multi-cause platform, because that's the cost to cover some of the ELM fees and the prize money, or a £1 donation through regular giving. Now I've used £1.20 as a figure here, as we typically sign up around 80% of donors to Gift Aid. And if my maths is correct, 80% of that 25 pence of additional Gift Aid is 20p. Hence the £1.20 donation figure. Now some people will tell you that a lottery, well, it attracts a different type of donor that you can't get from regular giving. And this is something that I personally disagree with. It's your approach to recruitment that determines if you recruit a different type of donor or not. And by that I mean, if you promote your lottery above your cause, if you promote the prize money instead of promoting the fact that that person can make a difference by giving to you, that's what attracts a different donor. Some people will say that lottery recruitment is easier. It's easier than regular giving, as a donor feels it's some sort of value exchange. I give you my £1, you give me a ticket and a chance to win some prizes. And I'll do this knowing I've got a chance to win some prizes and some of my pound goes back to the charity. But if you're looking for longevity in your donations, most people would agree that you should promote the cause first. Promote the method of donating, that comes secondary. So for us, we're looking at regular giving and saying, why are more people not using regular giving as their form of regular income generation? Our fundraisers at the Fundraising Partnership, they can just as easily recruit a donor for regular giving as they can do for a charity lottery. If this is the case, we have to be looking at more charities using regular giving to create a long-term sustainable income. Consider regular giving before you start looking at a lottery. Me saying this will come as quite a shock to my ex-colleagues at Sue Ryder. I banged on about that lottery every opportunity I could do. They would have said if you cut Ross open, you'd see the word lottery running through him like a stick of rock. Time was that might have been the case, but towards my end of my time at Sue Ryder, I also took over regular giving. So I ran regular giving as well as the lottery. More recently, I've had time to delve into dozens of 5-year projections that we generate for our charity partners. These projections break down the income and the costs on a monthly basis so a charity can see what they would be looking to spend and when their break even would be and what their return on investment would be over 5 years. And we do these for lottery and we do them for regular giving. And when you factor in that a lottery has the ELM fees, has the prize money costs, and then has all of the compliance and regulatory challenges that may come from running a lottery, the difference between the return on investment and the net profit that you see from regular giving and lottery is night and day. Now, the donors that we recruit at the Fundraising Partnership, their cancellations track more or less exactly the same as they do for the lottery donors that we recruit. Our sign-up volume is just as strong whether we're recruiting for a lottery or regular giving. We're recruiting the same number of donors. Yet we keep getting charities, especially hospitals, coming to us and asking for advice. Advice at the start of their lottery journey. I'm curious to know whether they have been tasked with launching a lottery or tasked with generating a regular income. Why is it they're coming to us asking for lottery and not coming mentioning regular giving? Now, at Sue Ryder, I was personally tasked with launching a lottery. There was a pressure from the senior and executive leadership team to emulate what the hospice sector had done so incredibly well in the late 90s and early 2000s when they first launched their lotteries. In hindsight, the task should have been, Ross, we want you to generate X amount of £1 million per year through a sustainable, long-term income revenue stream. So this is my question to any charity listening to this. Anyone who's looking at generating that long-term revenue, just because somebody else is running a lottery, just because you might have been asked to emulate what they are doing, ask the question, do you want a lottery or do you want me to generate a regular income that generates a long-term sustainable monthly revenue stream? Now, I read a really interesting piece on LinkedIn the other day by someone called James Waring from Blue Frog Fundraising. I'd suggest that you have a look at this piece on LinkedIn that they wrote, because what they said, that in their opinion, fundraisers have possibly lost the belief that donors actually want to give to charity. Fundraisers assume that as the cost of living increases, as inflation makes affordability harder for them as individuals, they're putting their feelings onto the donors. And they're thinking that donors will only give if they get something back in return. So essentially a value exchange of sorts. This belief means that fundraisers are apologetic and nervous when actually asking for donations. They can't understand that the donor would just want to give without a reciprocal arrangement. Do check out that piece from James Waring at Blue Frog on LinkedIn. I thought it was really well written and it was really, really on point. And we know that it's on point as our teams of fundraisers, they're recruiting regular givers just as easily as they are lottery players. So it debunks the myth of people needing that value exchange. In fact, we're recruiting exclusively regular givers for some of our charity partners. One of them is a hospital charity. They essentially wanted to prove the concept that they could generate a regular income through face-to-face fundraising by recruiting donors on site on the hospital premises. They didn't want to wait to launch a lottery. They didn't want the costs of 50p in the pound. They wanted instant results. We could launch for them within a matter of weeks. We could generate them this long-term revenue, and that's exactly what they are getting. And actually, they're generating more income than the lotteries would be who launched at the same time. Now, I know there are other lotteries and other ELMs out there that charge less than 50 pence per pound for a ticket to go into the draw. The very best ELMs, those that I would trust with a charity's legal obligations, I would trust with a charity's reputation, charge around 50 pence per ticket to go into this multi-cause lottery platform, a platform where your tickets go into the same draw as dozens of other charities in that draw. You're starting off around 50p in the pound. Now, as you sell more tickets, that cost does reduce. It may become 45p and then 40p, and then eventually you may get to a level where you think, yeah, this is much more sustainable for us. But to start off, the very best ELMs out there will be charging you between 40 and 50 pence per lottery entry going into the draw. Now, I spoke with another hospital charity the other day who we actually helped create a business proposal for them to launch this type of activity. And they were insistent that they wanted a lottery. We offered them a lottery, we offered them regular giving, we gave them both projections over 5 years. Their board of trustees rejected their plan to launch a lottery. They were insistent they wanted lottery above regular giving. And yet the trustees could see, when you factor in the long-term recruitment costs, the ELM fees, the prize money, the licenses, the staff time, all of the compliance, the return simply wasn't there for them. When they factored in all of these costs, it didn't stack up for them to launch a lottery. And what they should have gone with is pitched, actually, we'd like to go with regular giving to be able to prove the concept that this will work. A couple of years down the line, 6 months down the line, whenever it may be, they could have then started investigating the fact of whether a lottery was right for them or not. But they didn't, and their business case got rejected. Now, I get that after a couple of years of investment, a couple of years of growth in a lottery, the cost per £1 that you would typically spend to run a lottery, it reduces. As your lottery grows bigger, the long-term viability of a lottery is an amazing income-generating machine. However, when you compare this lottery or a vastly superior income, net profit income from regular giving wins hands down every single time. You'll hear on our podcast that there are different episodes, and you'll hear me talking about if you recruit the right type of donor for your lottery, they can deliver an incredible level of additional giving for you. That's not up for dispute. I love lotteries. I think they're fantastic. But the same happens to regular giving. As long as when you're recruiting, you recruit the right type of donor. As long as you communicate with your donor through a strong supported journey, you thank that donor regularly. You build that strong bond between you, the donor, the cause, and where their donations are going and the impact that they're having. The point of this episode is just to ask anyone who's looking to generate a significant regular income for the charity, don't just follow the herd and look at a lottery because others have a lottery. Regular giving will give you a better return for your investment. It will recruit you just as many donors, and it will reduce the burden of regulatory compliance compared to starting up with a lottery. If you'd like to discuss regular giving, discuss face-to-face recruitment with us, please feel free to get in contact with us here at the Fundraising Partnership. We'll speak soon.